If you haven't looked at the night sky with night vision goggles, I highly recommend it. You see thousands more stars than you can with your naked eye. This triangle-looking craft is filmed with the Paratemporal Gen3 PVS7 night vision goggles. And if you have the opportunity and the money and you're doing sky watching and paranormal type research, you definitely want to invest in these night vision goggles. They're top notch, top of the line, and Mobius guarantees every set to be near perfect. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. Somebody hand selecting and testing out the models before you even go ahead and use them. Not only that, Mobius will actually train you and teach you on how not to ruin these very infamous goggles that can, at a moment be destroyed given certain lighting circumstances and how you operate them. So ultimately, this triangle looking craft here being filmed at 4:45 a.m. in the morning on April the 30th, 2021 is very interesting looking. This is the raw footage that we're seeing right here, and we weren't too sure when we were watching this video what it was. We thought maybe it might be one of these elusive TR3B or type triangle crafts, as we have seen this even shown in a video episode on a show called UFO Witness, that this triangle craft can be captured with the night vision goggles. So we started talking about this one and we wanted to analyze the footage a little bit more, so I had a closer look. This is fantastic footage because it's captured on two different cameras at the same time. The Gen 3 night vision is in the green, and then there's a Sionyx Aurora Pro camera, and it's pointed directly up and it's just stationary there recording the night sky. And this object actually happens to come right over top of it. And while we're watching it on our cell phones and these little video frames on your cell phone, we couldn't discern anything about it other than it might look like a triangle craft, or it might be some kind of situation of orbs, or we weren't too sure. So again, we had to analyze the footage and get down to the facts there. So after analyzing the footage, what we found it to be was a flock of birds, or three birds flying together. As you can see here, I've blown it up, I've slowed it down, and what you can see around the objects is some wing flapping going on. And this is only present when you go ahead and zoom in, unless you're a very trained eye like Mobius. Mobius can pick these out of the dark with his eyes closed. But for myself, I have to look at it a little bit more zoomed in and a little bit more blown up in order to determine these objects and these things flying in the sky. One thing for certain out there in the sky traveling in a triangle formation are the NOS satellite systems. Have you ever heard of these things? They're the Naval Ocean Surveillance System, and what they're doing is they're flying overhead and they look like they're in a triangle formation, and they're locating and tracking ships at sea by detecting their radio transmissions. These things have been launched as early as the 70s and the 80s, the 90s, and there's a few that still remain in formation flying around our sky. The other thing that is now showing up as triangle formations on occasion are the Starlink satellites. And I think it's important that everyone knows that these things exist. You should look it up. I'll give you some links in the description there that you can further read up on the NOS satellite system. And if you just even did a Google search on Starlink satellites, you're certainly going to find tons of information there as well. But I will also put in a video I created with Mobius surrounding some education on the Starlink satellites for y'all. I hope y'all have a good day. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something today. All right, take it easy. Peace. If you're a UFO enthusiast and you've never gone on a UFO skywatch, I highly recommend it. In fact, you should do so when you go out to Las Vegas with Jason Sirachi. That's when you get to use the paratemporal night vision equipment. I highly recommend it. There's thousands of stars. It's absolutely gorgeous, and you're in one of the most renowned UFO paranormal hotspots there possibly is in the entirety of the world.